Ooh, what is up, guys, man? It is your boy Angel from A to Z podcast, man. We're here live with an interview with Melissa Santillan.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Another Santiana on
yeah.
your show, right?
Yeah, dude, I'm very excited because, for the longest, I didn't really know, about you and stuff.
Yeah.
So, and then recently, when I think Richard or my mom told me about you, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's usually if you hear the name Santiana, we're related somehow. There's not a lot of us.
Yeah.
So I get it all the time. People are like, "Wait, are you Richard's sister?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yes, I am."
Yeah, so very excited about that. But before we go any further, can you please introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Melissa Santillan, and I am a Rockford native, born and raised in Rockford, Illinois, on the south side of Rockford.
Ooh.
Most people know me from back in the day. My family actually owned a business on South Main, Guadalajara de Noche nightclub and restaurant.
Really?
So a lot of people know my family for that.
Yeah.
So, grandma's pretty well known. People know my mom, so started working very young.
Yeah. Can you raise the mic up a little bit?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, raise this up as well. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, yeah, there. All right, so can you tell us what do you do?
Wow, I have so many things that I got my hands in right now.
Yeah.
So my day job
Yeah.
is I am a barber stylist. So what that means is I hold a cosmetology and a barbering license.
Okay.
As well as teacher's licenses. And I say licenses because it's plural. I got 4 licenses. I got a cosmetology license, cosmetology teacher, and I am a barber and a licensed barber. Yeah, it happens. Technical difficulties.
Oh, yeah.
Are we back on?
Back to front.
Right. There we go.
Sorry about that, guys. Technical difficulties, but we're getting through it, man.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about cutting off your story.
No, it's okay. So, where was I? I was saying that I had the 4 licenses. I do consider myself part of the arts community here in Rockford.
Okay,
I actually ran into you over the weekend.
Yeah.
At Art Scene, right?
Yeah.
So there were so many things to see and so many artists to see. It was too hard to get out to visit everybody, but I tried my best, and I was out both nights. I was out Friday and Saturday night.
Yeah, that's the one thing that drags for me at art scene is there's not enough time, dude.
No, there were, I want to say it was 40 plus businesses that were involved.
Yeah.
And with that 40 plus businesses, that doesn't mean 40 artists. That means each business can hold several different artists in one space.
Yeah.
So trying to make it through, and I'm not one of those that just goes and gazes. Like, I want to talk to the artists and ask them what inspired them. And if I'm making a purchase, I kind of want to know the story behind how it was created.
Yeah. Every artist has their own process, their own story, and it's pretty cool when you listen to it.
Yeah, it is. And I actually made several purchases over the weekend.
Yeah.
I got to meet artists that I have never met before that I'm just friends with on Facebook and Instagram, and then artists that I've known for years. But one of my favorite purchases, can I show it on air?
Yeah.
I know I showed it to you when I walked in.
Yeah, she's
From
definitely a dope
China
artist.
Cat, Manny China Cat. So
Yeah.
I fell in love with so many of her pieces. I couldn't choose. I just bought them all.
Yeah.
So I was happy to meet her. I've been a big fan of hers for a while.
Yeah, me too, dude.
Yeah. And I bought a couple other pieces. I think I bought like a picture that was created out of fabrics.
Okay.
From Marge the artist. I bought something from her. I bought a couple little things here and there, from local vendors.
March the artist, was she at Benny's Cleaner?
She was.
Okay, I know who you're talking about. I seen her.
Yes.
The first time I seen her was at Eva.
At
Angelina.
Evangelina.
Yeah, there you go.
So
Sorry.
that was at the Female Energy
Yeah.
Art Show. So I believe she showed there more than once. I want to say it's been a few times because I've been a part of the Female Energy Art Show myself.
I seen her, the Margaret artist. I seen her at the second one.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I noticed her art. So definitely talented artist. But I don't want to stray too much away. The hair cutting, the barbering. the podcasting, the clothing line as well.
I do have, and I'm repping it right now.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
my
yeah.
Bonita Chingona apparel is sold at 1393 South Alpine at Wolves Den Barbershop.
Yeah, and that's also where she cuts hair. Right?
Yes, it is. I cut hair, I braid, I color. So I do lots of different things behind my chair.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We just started building our team. At first, it was just myself and Corey, the owner, and then now we have 5 of us all together now, and we're almost hitting our year anniversary next week at Wolves Den Barbershop. So if you haven't checked it out, you're more than welcome to stop by. We have the honeycomb ring lights on the ceiling. Most people like to come in and just check out the vibe of the barbershop. So if you want to come in, support my business, support any of the other barbers that work there, please come on down to Wolves Den Barbershop and check us out.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely tap in, guys. I'll be visiting you guys soon because I'll be interviewing one of your barbers now, I believe. Or
Tony?
Daisy.
Oh, Daisy does not work at my shop. She does not work there. So she does a lot of things with me there.
Oh, okay.
So Daisy, the makeup artist. We have been doing shoots and things together for some years now. So not only is it a barbershop, Corey, the owner, is a photographer. So we have a photo studio in our barbershop, which is probably unlike any other barbershop you've ever seen, just because we have the lights, we have backdrops, so when you see all these different scenes, it's because we have everything kind of in our grasp so that we can use professional lighting. We use like everything that he has there set up for his professional photography. He's actually teaching us how to take better shots of our pictures so our images look professional quality.
Yeah, that's cool, dude. Yeah, I never heard of a photo shoot set up at any barbershop.
At a barbershop,
yeah. So that's definitely cool. But I also wanted to get into, why did you want to get into barbering or hair?
When I was a little girl, I was inspired by one of my tias. So I used to watch her braid my cousin's hair. So she had 2 daughters. They were younger than I was. My cousin Tita and Sonia. And my Aunt Sandra actually taught me how to do my very first French braid. I had a Cabbage Patch doll. You remember the old school Cabbage Patch dolls that had the yarn hair? Right? Yeah. So I had my Cabbage Patch doll, and I think I was about 8 or 9 years old, and I was watching her braid my cousin's hair. And I said, Thea, will you show me how to do that braid? So she's like, yeah, sit next to me. And so she showed me how to do a braid, and I don't know, I was like obsessed with hair after that. Yeah. And I was a kid, so that Christmas, I remember somebody had bought me them. You remember them friendship bracelets that people used to make and you used to have to braid, and it was like an intricate braided bracelet, like the rope bracelets? Somebody bought that for me, and I don't remember who, but I just wanted to braid everything and create. That's how I started seeing it as an art form. Do you know what I mean? So as a young child, I was already braiding. I was creating. All my Barbie dolls had I was making clothes for them, different hairstyles. So I was inspired as a child.
Oh, so it wasn't really starting off with cutting hair. It was more like designing
styling.
Hair. Styling.
Yeah, it was styling hair. And then fashion was always a big thing in my life, So, because if you had to have the hair and the makeup done, it had to be the whole fit. You know what I mean? It wasn't just one thing. So I really enjoyed fashion and putting together colors and schemes. And in school, I loved art class. Art class just was my jam. You know what I mean? How do you say, like, when I was in high school, I did graduate high school, but barely. You know what I'm saying? Because school's not for everyone. And I'm not trying to like sound bad about that, but like I knew I wasn't going to do a college. I wasn't going to go and get my bachelor's or my master's and go to college. Because I remember I wanted to go to beauty school. I knew that that's what I was going to do. Yeah. And I had some friends trying to convince me that wasn't a good idea because they didn't look at what I'm doing now as a career. They looked at it like a hobby. It's something that you do on the side. Why don't you go to a real school like your cousin? He's going to college, or, they're joining the military and, they're going to have their college paid for. And, so I had a lot of people in my ear like that, but not my grandma. My grandma was the entrepreneur in my family. So she was like, don't listen to them, mija. If you want to go to beauty school, you go to beauty school. If it makes you happy, I want you to be happy.
Hey, shout out grandma.
Yeah, so my grandma was the one who encouraged me to do beauty school. And however she could help and support me, she did. And I went to beauty school. It was over 20 years ago.
Okay.
And it was actually here in town, Educators of Beauty. Shout out Educators of Beauty.
Yeah.
I still talk to all the ladies over there.
Was that establishment like been there for a while when you got there, or was it like freshly coming in? Like, was it?
Educators of Beauty was already established for a very long time.
Okay.
So, but it was in downtown Rockford on 1st and 5th Street.
Okay.
So it was like downtown. You know what I mean? And right now they actually, I don't know what the name of the funeral home is, but it became a funeral home. There's like a funeral home right there in that one way.
Okay.
But I remember my school was right there. I went to school. I completed the program, and when I had graduation, I had never even considered being a teacher, ever. It just didn't cross my mind. I just wanted to hurry up and work behind the chair.
Yeah.
So when I went to my graduation, educators did something where they awarded a few students a free scholarship to come back for teacher training. Oh. So I won that award. And it was free school. So who was going to pass up free school?
Yeah.
So I decided to go back to school again, get my educator license. And my thought process was, when my body goes out and my back's no good anymore and I got carpal tunnel, I'll be a teacher, because all my teachers were older.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't see teachers like myself at that time. And I finished the program. I didn't want to go into teaching right away. I didn't want to teach there anyway. I had made up my mind. But then I heard about the school that I'm teaching at currently, Tricoci University. So it was a new school. It was just being built. It was from the Chicagoland area. I had only heard about it. I heard about the Mario Tricoci salons throughout the Chicagoland area. And I decided to give it a go and apply. And I actually ended up being one of the first teachers hired at Tricoci in 2004 it was. Oh, sure. I remember interviewing and the walls weren't even complete. They were still like constructing the building.
Yeah.
And I have a long history with Tricoci. So this is actually my 3rd time back. Oh. They keep asking me to come back.
Yeah.
So like I'll leave for a while and then get asked to come back. And sometimes it's a part-time teacher, or this time it was supposed to be a sub, but now I'm like a permanent sub. So I'm not going anywhere.
Oh, that's what's up, dude. Yeah, I thought you got into teaching because after a while you saw the youth coming in. Maybe that made you want to.
I did see while I was in teacher training things that I wish I would have gotten as a student. Mm-hmm. So that did inspire me to go for it and be the teacher that I needed or thought I needed at that time. Do you know what I mean? And no shade towards any of my educators at all. They gave me what they gave me, and I definitely learned from everybody that was there. But I just saw that maybe I could reach classes differently because me coming from the other side, and I'm very hands-on. So like I wanted more workshops. I wanted more demonstrations, things like that. I didn't want to, because I remember hearing all the time, you're here to just learn the basics. You're here to just, and that used to kind of be driven into us, like, you're here for the basics, only the basics. And I'm like, but I want to learn advanced stuff.
Yeah.
I want to learn the stuff, how do they do all this Hollywood hair and how are they doing all these photo shoots? Like, I was just so interested in more than the basics.
Yeah, no, I thought schools teach you the latest to date tips and tricks.
So, as an educator for so many years, right?
Yeah.
I've been an educator for over 18 years. I have learned you have to master the basics before you can start learning more or venturing off. Do you know what I mean? So like you need to get really good at the basics that you're there to learn, but it doesn't mean that you can't excel when you're in school, because I have seen some people, everybody learns at a different rate, at a different pace.
Yeah.
So, they might not be so keen on the idea of learning roller sets and perms, but once we get to makeup or hair color, all of a sudden they light up. You know what I mean? And they're learning the things at a faster rate. And, you can have students at different levels, because our program, we start, we'll start people that maybe just are beginning the program, but then a few weeks later they're joined into, it's like a rolling curriculum where they jump into that same class with the people who were already there 6 weeks before. So you have people at different levels all the time. And I'm a clinic floor teacher, so by the time I get them, I got the brand new ones that just hit the floor. I got the seniors. You know what I mean? And I got the people all in between.
Yeah.
So everybody, you have to learn your audience, you have to learn your class, and you have to see what it is that they need from you. Some people can, are self-motivated, can start things a little bit quicker, understand things a lot faster. And then some people need a lot more help, a lot more one-on-one. So.
And the basics, what is that? Like female, male, or like cutting? Or?
So it's the basics of hair, like the fundamentals of hair cutting. You know what I mean? So learning, it sounds all confused, but like you're going to learn the 4 basic haircuts. You're going to learn how to do a bob. A graduated bob, a layered cut, a long layer, a short layer, right?
Yeah.
Before you can learn a creative cut, before you learn how to combine all of those. You will learn how to do, a basic fade, but then after that, that's when you start, you need to learn the basics, how to use your tool, how to clean your tool, right?
Yeah.
Understanding, the difference between blending or lining, or what the difference between a clipper and a trimmer is, and what it exactly does, and different angles that you hold your fingers when you're cutting.
Yeah.
Because you either, you're either producing weight or not producing weight.
Yeah.
So shapes.
It's a lot. I mean, I never really cut hair besides my own hair.
You cut your own hair?
Oh, yeah.
Because I saw Miss Rebecca just blessed your head.
I know, yeah.
Miss Rebecca, shout out my girl. She's amazing at what she does and a great educator.
Yeah, dude. I was looking rough. But yeah, she definitely hooked it up. And yeah, dude, I feel like it's just a lot with the barbering, because it's not just learning how to cut. I feel like it's also learning how to like communicate with people or your clients.
You do have to communicate with people, and I find, like, I'm very open and honest, and it's hard for me to kind of hold back what I want or need to say.
Yeah.
Sometimes I stick my foot in my mouth, sometimes I don't, but I'm real with it, so when I hear, because I have come across students where they're just like, I don't like people. Why are you doing hair? Why are you behind the chair? Because you have to communicate with people.
Yeah.
You have to be a people person, because you have to do a consultation. So when you do a consultation with someone, they tell you their wants and needs, right? Mm-hmm. And it's for you to communicate that back and repeat it so that there's a clear understanding about what's about to happen before you touch them.
Yeah.
Right? And we're one of the only professions that is licensed to touch. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
I'm an energy person. I'm one of those people where I believe you can pass energy. So if you got some foul energy and you're touching clients all day and you got a foul energy, you're passing that on to your client. Leave whatever you got going on at the door, and it's not the client's fault. You had a bad morning, you spilled your coffee, whatever it was, you got a flat tire, right? It's not your client's fault. So like sometimes you have to learn how to let things go, leave them at the door, and you can pick them back up when you leave, if that makes sense. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I don't just deal with a small class. Like I deal with the clinic. So, sometimes it's 30 to 40 people out on the floor that I'm responsible for.
That's a lot.
So 30 to 40 people plus their clients. Do the math. That's a lot of stuff going on under one roof.
And did you ever get nervous? Like teaching or?
At the beginning I was. So I had a hard time doing demonstrations at first. I remember teaching theory. Like my first year was my hardest year. I made all my mistakes. When I would talk, I would repeat myself constantly. I would get nervous and say, you know what I mean? Like just, so when you're not used to like public speaking, that might be the hardest part of it. So, and I hear that's one of the biggest fears people have is public speaking.
Oh, yeah.
So after you get past that, some of my classes were really small. I had 5 people. Some of my classes were really large. I had 24. As classes roll in and out, and the more you do it, you become like a a well-tuned machine. Do you know what I mean? Like you just, not that you get into a program, but you get used to teaching that subject over and over again, and you see what works and what doesn't work. And you see what kind of students you have in your class, because every class is different. I can't teach every class the same.
Okay.
Because I can have a very diverse group where there's, half of the class is 18-year-olds, but then I got older cats like myself that are in their 40s starting a second career. Do you know what I'm saying? So like we get people from all walks of life coming in to start barbering, cosmetology, or aesthetics, because there are 3 programs.
Yeah. Dude, that's very well for me overwhelming.
It can be if you let it. Thank goodness I'm a good multitasker. So I am a good multitasker in that aspect. When I'm there, I am a beast. I can run around and I can manage the floor like you wouldn't believe. But when I'm at home and I'm trying to make a post, everybody needs to get out of the room because I'm working on something.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, no. I'm trying to make dinner. I'm not trying to do 5 million things at a time. But when I'm at work and I'm in my element, I can go. I prioritize what's more important. All the chemicals first. Then I'll go around and make sure everybody's doing their haircuts correctly. And I'm constantly checking on everybody all day.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Now, I did want to ask you this. Obviously, you don't have to answer nothing you don't feel comfortable with. But is it easy being a barber? Do you always got to deal with that one customer?
So I became a barber because I started servicing a lot of male clientele because I braid and I lock and I do all of that. So my mindset was, why am I not completing these services? I would braid them, I would lock them, and then send them to a barber, right?
Okay.
So my thought process was, that's why I decided to go back to school and get my barber license. Women, believe it or not, are much more picky than men. Yes, women are much more picky than men.
I can see that. I just want that surprise.
Yeah. So, and one thing I think I shared this story with one of my coworkers and some of my students. If I think about how often I see my male clients, it's actually a lot more than female clients, and you would think that would be backward, but it's not.
Okay.
So my male clients come in every 2 or 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
They come in and get braided. They might come in every other week so that they can get lined up, tapered, whatever, keep their hair cut nice and crispy, nice and clean. My women, I might do a color touch up or highlights, right? I see them every 6 to 8 weeks.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like I see my male clientele a lot more. With my stylist background, I can show them how to take care of their hair. I can suggest when their hair needs a trim prior to braiding it. Do you know what I mean? So like I could give them at-home care as well, in between coming to see me. The services are not as lengthy on a man as it is on a woman. So like a woman wants hair extensions and she wants color, right? And she wants you to blow dry her hair after her haircut. That shit can take 2 to 4 hours sometimes, depending on what. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Even like women's braids, when I do like the box braids or like the passion twist, like what any of those, where it looks like 40 plus braids.
Yeah.
Those are 3-4 hour jobs.
Oof.
And they really wear down my body. So my back, my neck, my attitude, my mood changes because I might only do 1 or 2 clients when I have clients like that a day. Okay. Because that's all my body can handle. Because if you think about it, if I'm with the same person 4 hours straight, braiding, doing color, right?
Yeah. Is it like tension on your back or your feet?
My neck, my hands.
We're going like this?
Yes. Yeah. So it's...
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever seen videos of me braid, but I had a little girl tell me a few weeks ago, it looks like your hands are doing the itsy bitsy spider. She told me.
Yeah.
So when I do male clients, I can get 6 or 7 dudes in. I braid, most of the time it's half of the head, and then they just want to be lined up, tapered, faded. And I find that I can still go home, spend time with my kids, make dinner. Do you know what I mean? I'm still lively when I leave. When I do services on women, it takes a little bit more out of you. Yeah. Cool. So health is wealth, man. You got to take care of your body. So not that I'm going to stop doing women's hair. I will always do women's hair. But I will be honest with you. I am focusing more on doing male clientele.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah.
Now, with the males, do you prefer to cut or braid?
Both.
Oh, both.
Yeah. So I'm one of those, I like to challenge myself. Like, if I feel like there's something I need to work at, how am I going to get better at it if I don't challenge myself to continually do it? So shaving is important to me right now. Doing more tapers, doing more fades, linings, stuff like that. So like I want to challenge myself to do more of that because that's what I want to get really, really good at. And I'm good now. I want to be great.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm always striving for more, striving to be better at everything that I do behind the chair, everything that I have going on in my life.
Yeah. But now that you establish yourself now, are you constantly busy? Because I noticed that you really don't take just any client. You have certain clients you only take care of. If I'm getting that right.
So about a year ago, I was not taking new clientele because I did get overwhelmed. I've always taken new clients up until that point. And what happens is I'm still a mom too, you know? So
Yeah.
I'm a boy mom. If you guys don't know, I have 3 sons. I have a granddaughter too.
Who? 3 sons?
3 sons. I have all boys. But I'm human and my children get sick. I get sick, right? So at one point I was so booked. I think I was like over 2 months booked out.
Oh, crap.
So there was one point where my regular clients that needed touch-ups or haircuts couldn't get in with me because all of these new clients from nowhere were just like coming out of the woodwork, which I don't mind taking new clients, but I still want my regular loyal clients that have been with me from day one too.
Yeah.
So I can't forget about them. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't want to forget about them. Some of them I really enjoy and they have grown with me. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and then some new clients, you know, they don't really know you. They don't really respect your time. I only have this issue with new clients. They no show on me. You know what I mean? Like things like that. So like my time is, if I would have known you weren't going to come, I could have filled that spot. I do have waiting lists. So, even something like, you know, let me know at least the day of or the night before so I can make a post so I can fill that spot. I'll fill that spot. But with that being said, I just couldn't get all my regular people in. So I stopped for about a year. It was a little over a year, I believe, taking new clientele. When we moved downstairs and remodeled the Wolf's Den Barbershop, because we were upstairs. Studio K is upstairs. So we have a salon and a barbershop in the same location.
Okay, cool.
So it's a husband and wife that own both of those businesses.
Ooh.
And when we moved downstairs, that's when I decided to open my book and take new clients again. So when I started taking new clients again, you know, I used to do like a 3 strikes and you're out. Like once you burn me and, you know, I count how many times. One time, you got one time, and that's it. Because I don't have time for it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I require a cancellation fee. So, like, if you happen to no-show on me, I'm charging your card, or you cannot book with me until you pay my cancellation fee. And that's how you kind of get rid of that.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So, like, I do accept new clients right now. And I always love, because some of the new clients end up being your loyals too, you know? And I love meeting new people. I love just being around different people.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say, you've probably met all types of people.
Man, the 18 years of teaching, yeah. And then behind the chair, I don't know if you realize this, but we're not only doing hair and stuff like that. We're therapists. We are therapists for sure. People come in and, you know, open up to you sometimes. And sometimes they need an ear or they need, you know, someone to talk to. And I know several years ago, the state of Illinois, I don't know if every other state did, made it mandatory to take a class because so many people open up to us. I forgot what the name of the class is, but it's like an hour of continuing education that we have to take because we are considered, you know, somewhat of counselors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We listen and we take on a lot of burden. You know, when there's domestic violence situations or things like that, so you'd be surprised at things that we hear behind the chair. Or if there's any type of abuse going on, I have the right now as a stylist or a barber to give them the right number or hotlines Where before it was like, don't ask, don't tell.
Yeah.
You know, that's how it was. It was just like, oh, you know, don't talk about anything that goes on behind the chair. But like now it's like, no, you know, what if I could save somebody's life for giving them the right number or giving them the right advice? And I'm not telling them to go home and start somebody's car on fire or light everybody's Jordans up or anything like that. But if I can help that woman or man, you know, like, hey, you don't have to deal with that. If, you know, between you and I, here's this number, you can call them if you're feeling like you need some help. If I can do that for somebody, I gladly do that.
Yeah, and not just that, man. You guys also make the person feel better at the end of the day with the haircut.
Yeah, they can be having like a really shitty day, and then they sit down in, you know, in my chair, and now I've got them smiling from ear to ear. That's very gratifying for me, as a barber stylist, like to make somebody's whole day change, you know, because maybe I passed off some good energy to them. Maybe I made them feel a certain way because now they look good.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, there's one thing I love about haircuts is when I look rough and I go in and I look good.
And you walk out, there's no feeling like it.
Yeah, dude. You feel like you could get anybody. You
know? You're that dude.
Yeah, dude. That's how I feel every time I walk out.
Yeah.
But what's it called? I also wanted to ask you this: the technical side, or like the technology in haircutting and styling, has that changed in the time you've been in cutting hair or hair?
Oh yeah, just from being a student myself and then being a teacher and all of this new age. Yeah. I like to say, we used to have physical books. And then our company went green several years ago where everything's done on an iPad now.
Really?
So teaching is like different now because all of our lessons are prepared on an iPad. Tests are given on an iPad. And then I won't lie, like even technology, like if you're on Instagram a lot, Instagram to us as barbers and stylists is like our portfolio. So when you look at a barber or a stylist page, that's where you're going to see all of our work. That's where you're going to see our book of work, you know? So not only that, it's, you know, us making reels, us promoting ourselves on social media. Now the new technology of using AI, you know what I mean?
You guys use that?
You can. So I'm getting into it now. I'm learning. I'm always learning. But I have seen other friends of mine in the business or people that I look up to, you know, they may do a braid video, right?
Yeah.
But then they're using AI. You know how they have like the computer talking and explaining what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, and explaining what you're doing step by step. So using AI is kind of like the new trend right now.
Okay.
So every time I get good at doing something on social media, it changes. And then I got to learn again.
Yeah. But I wanted to ask you this. What was it like before the internet or the reels, Instagram?
Well, I'll tell you what, YouTube is not a cosmetology school, you guys. It is not. Okay? It is not. You need real hands-on instructors to help you with that. So let me clear that air. Yeah. You can learn a lot of good things on YouTube, though. I will say that. But back in the day when we didn't have these things, we didn't have Google, we didn't have YouTube, right? We didn't have any of that. Everything was done hands-on. You had to drive and venture off to different cities or places. Sometimes you would have them here in town, but physically go to a school where now classes are virtual. So it's changed where, you know, you physically had to be present. Sometimes it was a demonstration and maybe like a theory portion that was taught to you in person. And then sometimes it was a workshop where they explained something to you, they demonstrate it, and then now the classroom got critiqued or helped doing a technique that they learned. So like now it's still done like that, but it can be done virtually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's changed.
Yeah. And what about the portfolio part? Like before the Instagram, having that on there?
It was a picture book.
Oh, really?
It was an old school photo book. Like, you know, you go and get your pictures developed and you make like either a scrapbook or you have like your photo book with all the sleeves, right? Old school style.
Oh, do you still have yours, or did you?
I do have mine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I do have mine. And I actually, Thought it was a good idea at the barbershop because we have a coffee table. And you know how sometimes when you go to different spas or if you go to different places, if they have a coffee table or you go to like a Starbucks and they have books.
Yeah.
I actually have a book of my work sitting on our coffee table at the barbershop so people can enjoy styles of mine from the past and present.
Okay, that's
So-
cool. Yeah.
Because sometimes people physically want a book. Because I remember going into barbershops or beauty salons, and what you would do while you waited is you picked up the magazines or books to show them what kind of style you wanted or what kind of color you wanted. Where now it's at your fingertip. You get your phone, you Google a picture, or you Pinterest a picture.
Yeah.
And that's how we do it now. Nobody has books anymore. Nobody has anything like that.
Yeah. I feel like that's out of style.
It's a thing of the past.
Yeah. Anything physical like that.
Anything physical
Yeah.
is like this right here has taken over. This is the way
Yeah.
I run my business. This is how I take my payments. This is how I run my social media. This is how I download my pictures. This is how I get my podcast going. This is how I get everything going. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah.
And that's another segue I want to get into, podcasting.
Yes.
How? Why? And how did you even get started?
Oh, wow. This is a hell of a story. Where do I begin? So I was inspired during COVID to do my podcast. During COVID, there was, it was just a big shock to everybody. All of us got into like a halt in our life, right?
Oh, yeah.
Things were going really good for me and for a lot of people. And all of a sudden the world just stopped. Okay. Watching the news was really depressing. You saw the numbers and the deaths and right, like all of this negative stuff on the news. It was making me just feel unmotivated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I really badly wanted to be at work creating, and we were considered, what did they call us?
Unessential?
We were unessential workers. That's what they told us. So we were not essential.
So was I. I was at.
Yeah. So none of us could work. So for 3 months, we were unable to work. My kids were home from school. So I'm a teacher, but I'm not that kind of teacher.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like I'm used to teaching what I know in my career, my field, and my industry. But my children were home, and I told you I have a 10 and a 12-year-old. So at that time, they were a little bit younger. I had to put them in separate rooms because they're both in different grades, So one was paying attention to their e-learning in this room, and then the other one was in the other room doing, his e-learning, and it was. I had to keep checking on them. Not only that, because you try to put a child in front of a screen all day. Like, don't get me wrong, they like gaming, they like watching YouTube, but you put them in front of a virtual classroom, sometimes they get lost.
Oh, they do.
So I had to keep them on track.
Yeah.
So I'm running back and forth from room to room. I'm at home, so I'm making breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I haven't been able to do hair. The only person's hair I was doing were my own kids. You know what I'm saying? But I'm used to doing full work days. I'm a work mom.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Mental health is real. I got very depressed. And you know how I have the side of my head shaved?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people thought I did that because I was a barber. No. I actually got an alopecia spot. So my hair fell out. Mm-hmm. So because of the stress.
Yeah.
So I had a spot that was probably this big, bro, on the side of my head. And my hair, there were no hair follicles. It was completely bald. So I was hiding it. Right? Finally went back to work. And I had the idea while I was off, like, I'm so tired of seeing all this negativity. What if I did my own podcast? Because podcasting was becoming really big several years ago.
Yeah.
And highlight all of the positive people in our community doing positive things, because there's still good people out there. There are still good people out there, but we just weren't being shown that.
Yeah.
I felt like, and I'm no conspiracy theorist, but we were kind of being blinded so that we could see what they wanted us to see and not what we needed to see. You know what I'm saying? So I was inspired to do the podcast. So the idea was there. Went back to work finally. I actually shared with Corey, the owner of Wolf's Den Barbershop. I'm like, man, let me show you, bro. Like, I've been hiding this. And I had this idea, but I don't know if I want to do it or not. So I showed him my bald spot. And I told him I'm thinking about just shaving it because, like, what else am I going to do? Like, the whole shit's going to fall out, So he was like, you know what, Melissa? Like, you should let me just, like, shave it. And we should do a photo shoot. And I think you'll feel better. And I bet you're not the only one going through something like this. You should share your story. So he gassed me up and was like, let's do this. You look badass with your head shaved. And, so he shaved my head. I did feel a million times better. And then I think a couple weeks after I shaved my head, I was in the works and in the making of my podcast, Unscripted. So I had the idea of doing it. I did have a studio. I did have a director at that time that I worked with. And so I brought the idea to him, like, hey, we're all not doing a lot of things right now because of COVID. Our hands are tied. And that's when they were telling us there can only be 10 people, right? Like, there can only be 10 people in an area or whatever. Restrictions.
Yeah, I remember that.
So I'm like, it's me, my guest, my director, my photographer, maybe one other person in the background. Hey, we're good. You know what I mean? So to me, that was completely legal for us to be doing that. And we were in a secluded podcast studio.
Yeah.
So Unscripted was born. We did Unscripted. I wanted to, like I said, highlight positive people in the community. So a lot of the guests that I had either had things going on, were working through the pandemic, were still figuring out how to continue life without letting it get to them. So I was feeling that. So all of that negative energy that was just brewing in me now turned around and became positive for me doing these interviews.
Yeah.
And I got to interview some cool ass people.
Yeah, no, I seen. Vic Monster was one of them.
Vic Monster was, yes, definitely a guest of mine, along with Kid Jungle. So Kid Jungle from Phase 1, breakdancer. So he's from The Rock, but he lives in Chicago now, and he has one of the most famous breakdancing crews in that area.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, so I got to interview him. I actually got to interview our mayor, Tom McNamara. I got to interview Bear Savong, who was one of the first people that was appointed a marijuana farm, a cannabis farm in the United States when it was, so to talk to him about the cannabis community. So there were just all of these things because, the stigma of cannabis too, like it is medicinal. It's used for medicinal purposes, and he's an advocate for the cannabis community. So it was dope to interview him and get his view and aspect of things. So it's just shedding light on things that maybe people don't understand.
Yeah.
So that's what I really wanted to do. I even interviewed Evangelina Jimenez because she is just a firestorm. She's always doing something. She's always got her hand doing her female energy show with her storefront, like all of the stuff that she has going on. She's just an amazing young woman. And I keep forgetting she is my son's age. She is. So my oldest son, she is actually one of Mijo's friends.
Okay.
So that's, there were just some amazing people that I got to interview, and I'm very grateful for doing it at that time. I'm glad I got to bring it back because my first episode that I had, Unscripted Season 2, was breast cancer in our community. So my family got hit hard the past 7 years, bro.
Yeah.
I had 6 family members come up with breast cancer in 7 years. 6.
Holy shit.
6 family members.
Young or different ages?
All different ages. All different ages.
Like genetics? Was it genetically?
They say it's not, but I'm having a hard time because, they did the genetic testing on all of us. And they say that it's not. And I know that there's the test that they give you for the genetics is supposed to tell you how likely you are to develop breast cancer in your body. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's just too close. You know what I mean? Like I had people that are really close, and I'm very respectful about this. Some of my family are very introvert about the information, so I never name drop. I just say family members. Then I have family members like my mom who are very vocal about it. Family members like my cousin Andrea that I interviewed because the woman that I interviewed, Andrea Salanya, she is a cancer survivor, but she's also my cousin. So we even had an oncology nurse, so a cancer nurse, come in to give us a medical perspective because even though Andrea had cancer, we still didn't understand why or how or what some of these terms were. So she was kind of there shedding light on all of that, which was very helpful also.
Yeah. Very informative. I'm not gonna lie though. Like I think 5 minutes in, I was already crying.
I cried on the segment. I definitely cried because it was very emotional.
Yeah,
because part of my story was I found out she had breast cancer scrolling on Facebook. That was like, damn, like that was like my prima that I grew up with, that we did naughty things together, and we, you know what I'm saying? Like we literally grew up together since we were kids. And we had so many good times together. And then I had, when you get older, sometimes you disconnect from certain family and friends, not because you want to, just because life happens.
Yeah.
So we had been disconnected for some years. And the only thing I could think was, she needs me and I'm going to reach out to her. And I don't care how long it's been.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that was very dope, man.
Yeah.
And what made you want to do it at Rock Royal?
At Rock Royal?
Yeah. Because the first season, that was like at...
it was at Test Site. It was at Test Site. So I had a studio at Test Site.
Yeah.
Sometimes you grow apart from certain people. And, me and the first crew kind of just grew apart, decided to part ways. And I always, in the background, wanted to continue the podcast because I saw so much potential in it.
Yeah.
So Joelle is one of my clients. Oh. I've known Joelle for a long time. So when you see Joelle's braids, that's me.
Oh, shit. Yeah, because I'm not going to lie. I'd be looking at his hair through his videos and the podcast. I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah. So Joelle has been my client for quite some time. And, so he's kind of been with me throughout this whole journey. So when he started letting me know that him and Yash, because Yash is my director,
shout out Yash.
Yeah, shout out to Yash, love you. That they were going to do the podcast studio, right away. I know Joelle saw light bulbs going off in my head. Like, wait, you're going to have a studio, bro? Because he thought maybe I might do it at the barbershop, but we can't do a podcast at the barbershop. There's too much music going on. It's not soundproof. It's a photo studio, not a podcast studio. You know what I mean? It has to be done differently. So I have done a barber video collab before in one of Joel's studios. He let me use one of his areas to shoot a barber video in, which was dope. He actually was my model for that. And I collabed with Tony Alfaro at that time. I don't know if you know who Tony is. He actually works at my shop now.
No. A barber?
He is one of the dopest young barbers here in town.
Okay.
So them dope Versace drip that I always get on the side, or any type of designs that I get on the side of my head when I do have it designed.
Okay, yeah.
That's the young man who does it.
Oh, wow.
He gets down.
Yeah. Very impressive.
So when they let me know that they were starting the podcast studio, of course I was all in. They needed shows. I wanted to bring my show back. It was a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
And I work with Yash and I've worked with Joelle before, so it just was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
It was like a perfect storm brewing. I was just like, yeah, let's do this, bro.
Okay.
And then I believe, was it yesterday or the day before, I had announced my podcast actually got picked up and fully sponsored by the Rockford Regional Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, I seen that. Yes.
So they are actually my first sponsor, which
Congrats.
I definitely was seeking sponsorship for my podcast when I first went round. But, man, thank you, Suli, Ricardo, Armando. They're awesome. And I had Armando co-host with me, which was dope because Armando is one of the most humble men I have ever met. He's a mentor to me, a lot to a lot of people in the community. And he's a great storyteller.
Oh, yeah.
Armando's amazing.
Yeah, we definitely got to give it up for the
Rockford Regional Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, for everybody listening.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Definitely shout out to everybody who gives people like us a chance, man. For example, the people at Vibez Smoke Shop at 1015 Broadway definitely gave me my very first sponsorship, along with the office we're in here now.
Yeah, see that when you're good to people, people are good to you.
Yeah.
And when they see you doing good things, like the things that you're doing, the things that I'm trying to do for the community, because it's not about me. And I know it's not about you. That's not why you do this. It's about making a platform so people can be heard.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why I do it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's never about me. I'm talking the least. You know what I mean? Right now I'm talking a lot because I'm the one being interviewed.
Yeah.
But usually on my podcast, I talk the least.
Yeah.
Because I want to hear their story, not my story.
Yeah, because and you know your own story, you know, and like people you meet, they have a story, and you're just trying to get it out of them, you know.
Yeah, all you do is just kind of spark the question,
Yeah.
so that they can go and they can tell the story. And then if you feel like, okay, let's switch the route, right? Let's switch the route and let's detour and talk about this for a little while. Then you have to know how to engage in that with that question so that they understand we're switching the conversation now.
Yeah. A little fun fact. When I started this podcast, I was like so unready or unprepared. 'Cause I was definitely an introvert when I did this.
Not after this though, huh?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now it's smooth.
Yeah, I could definitely hold up a conversation. Not even on the podcast, but out in public. Like if I'm around somebody and I'm bored and I want to talk, I could literally spark a conversation. Previous to me, when I wasn't doing it, I would always be shy in the corner, just be quiet. And
You'd be the wallflower.
Yes.
The one in the background. Yeah.
And yeah, because of this podcasting, man, like I've opened up. Don't get me wrong, I still have my quiet moments, but that's because I want to be quiet.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to be to myself.
It made you a little bit more out there though, where
Yes, it did.
if you want to talk to certain people, there's no reason like, no, I don't want to interrupt them. Like, you know how you get those thoughts in your mind and you're just like, no, I don't want to come off as rude, or I don't, they're talking to someone, so I don't want to like jump in that convo.
You don't want to be a bother and stuff.
Yeah. But you never know who you meet and if you're going to work with them in the future, if there's a potential project. So like, I always keep that in my mind too. Like maybe there's and if it's not a connection for me, maybe it's a connection for one of my homies or somebody that I know or somebody that asked me, do you know somebody who does X, Y, and Z? And all of a sudden there's that person. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't mind either. I don't want nothing from it. It's if I make a connection with you and someone else, man, good luck, you guys, do what you do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Because that's also a beautiful thing, man. Because just because we can't come up with something doesn't mean you and
someone else can.
Yeah.
So, good energy. You know what I mean? Like you put out good energy, you receive good energy. So I'm a firm believer of that. And I like helping people. And I don't have no hidden agendas. I don't have no ulterior motives. It's just I truly want to see people succeed. I want to see people win. Yeah. Even for people who don't clap for me, I still clap for you.
Yeah.
I still clap for you. For sure.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you don't want that negative energy in the concerts, man. Well, that's for me.
No, I don't either. I never want that energy on me. I always want to be positive in whatever I do, and if I am having a moment, you'll see me. I'll go away for a little, but it doesn't mean I'm not working.
Yeah.
I always, because I'm doing so many and I'm in so many different projects. I tend to be a light sleeper and insomniac, and I might not be the only person. I've heard I'm not the only person, because when I talk to people about this, I have a notebook on my nightstand. Mm-hmm. So I wake up in the middle of the night. So instead of getting on my phone, I try to jot down what I'm thinking about or what's keeping me up. So it could be an idea for my apparel. It could be someone I want to interview on my podcast. It could be a thought of a new braid design or a class I want to teach, or just multiple things that go through my mind at night. You guys just have no idea. When you have a creative mind, sometimes it just doesn't stop. Yeah. So I try not to pick up my phone and get lost on Instagram for 3 hours, because I've done that before too. Yeah. So instead of turn it into something positive, jot down the ideas I have, and then try to get some sleep, because I usually have very busy days.
Yeah, definitely understandable, man. I'm always thinking, hardly sleeping. I'm always thinking about the next project or how I can how I can advance my art, because at the end of the day, this is not really my main hobby, my income, or nothing. This is just something I do to help other people or just to have fun.
Yeah. That's definitely why I do it too. I did it at first because I wanted to see more positivity in our community. Mm-hmm. And I felt like a lot of the people that were being positive just didn't have that platform at the time of COVID. I mean, COVID's kind of not a thing of the past, but we've learned to live with it now. Yeah. So moving forward, I hate to say the C word anymore, but I still want to shed light on the good doers in Rockford and the surrounding area and what's going on. You know, do you have an event? Because I do get a lot of people like, can I be on your podcast? And I'm like, well, I have to want to interview you.
Yeah.
So, you know, so there has to be a reason, you know, are you doing something positive in the community? Do you have a positive business? Are you having an event? Are you an artist? So people right away thought when I had a podcast that it was going to be a beauty or an industry podcast. And I have had industry people. I have had stylists, barbers, things like that on my podcast before, but it's not just for people in my industry. I'm interested in people in general. And I'm inspired by all different people. So musicians, artists, dancers, you name it, it inspires me. You know, sometimes, you know, people are like, what inspires you to do these crazy braid designs or color or whatever? It could be me going to an art show, just going to art scene this past weekend. I got a lot of inspiration. Yeah. You know, and there's things that are going to keep continually coming up in my head that are going to be from things that I've seen or people that I talked to over this past weekend. Yeah. So inspiration's everywhere. You just got to be open to it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. When I started this was when Vic showed me my first art show. When he showed me my first art show, I didn't know how talented or Rockford was.
You didn't realize they had an entire art scene.
Yeah, I did not.
A lot of people still don't know.
Yeah, dude. And when I did my first art thing, it was already like 10 years plus. Yeah. That afterwards that I discovered it. Yeah. So it's like, it's here. You just got to find it.
You do. And even like the post that I made over the past weekend about all the artists that I enjoyed and got to meet and see. And people would jump on my post and be like, where was this at?
I know. Dude.
In Rockford. Where? Right? Yeah. And I'm just like, so one of my best responses was, you missed spring art scene, but there's going to be a fall art scene coming up. Yeah. If you want to know more about it, because I always advertise anything that's going on in the community. I try to advertise anything that has to do with arts or things going on with events. I will be advertising a fall art scene for sure. Okay. Yeah. And like anytime, like I am dying to get out there to go see the drawing that Vic created and is a mural on our walls. Now, I have not seen it in person, but I am dying to go. Yeah. He has been such an inspiration to so many people in our community. God bless you, Vic. You're doing an amazing job.
Yeah, definitely shout out Vic Monster.
Vic Monster.
The dopest DJ around. But also shout out to Britt Whitaker. He's the artist that painted the
Yes, he is. And I am so excited to go and see that in person. Yeah. And just driving around Rockford now has a different feel, even though a lot of the streets have changed, the buildings have changed, you know, from my past. Yeah. When I walk around, it still makes me smile because I remember where them buildings were. I remember moments that I had there. But then now when I look around that South Side area, we've got art on the walls, and that makes me happy to see that.
Oh, yeah, dude. They've definitely been snapping with the walls in Rockford, dude. Yeah. I thought Rockford before it was like plain and lame, dude. With those arts, man, it brightens it up. Obviously not too much because it can only go so far, but it makes the walls look beautiful when you do pass them.
It does. It does. And just seeing the art that they put on the walls, it makes you excited to see what they're going to do next and where they're going to put the next ones.
I know, right? Because
I know they're not done.
I know, dude.
They're not done.
There's still plenty of blank walls, man. In Rockford,
there's a ton. There's a ton of walls. There's a ton of buildings, structures that could use some art on the walls for sure.
Yeah. Some people just got to be not as strict.
Yeah.
Because I know plenty of artists that want to paint a wall, but the thing is that sometimes they don't get approved or just
the owner of the building has to be with it. Yeah. And I know there has to be like permits and funding and all of that. And I think the creative group is doing a great job getting people in to do the art on the walls. It would be, I know we've had some of our own artists from Rockford put some art on the walls also. Yeah. And I'm excited to see more Rockford natives on our walls. I'll just say that. People from our past and currently.
Yeah, that would be dope. Trying to think what else. Yeah, because the one at Ernie's pub is cool.
Yeah.
Vic's daughter's mural.
Yes.
That was super fucking dope, dude.
That's around the corner from where my family's business used to be. So Guadalajara was on that block.
Yeah.
So that means a lot to me to see it there because that was our building.
Yeah. The artists too are very talented female artists that did it, man. Very dope.
Yes, they are. I went to a few of, you know how when they did like I don't want to say opening, but you know how when they like the reveal.
Yeah.
I went to like two. I didn't get to make it to all of them because, again, I do a lot of different things. I got 2 jobs, full-time mom, multiple things going on. But when I get a chance to go out and I have enough time, I definitely like to go out and see when they do like the mural reveals and any art shows going on.
Yeah. No, those are dope because you can also talk to the artist, and that's also dope.
That's what I love. Like I said, that's what's fun about art scene is going in, talking to the artist, just hearing about their inspiration, how they got the idea, how it makes them feel. Like I like hearing them stories behind the art pieces.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. All right, we are about that hour already into the podcast. Before we go, the clothing, because I think that's the least we talked about. Like, where can people get the clothes? Or
so the Bonita or Chingona shirts, if you haven't followed my social media, you can follow me, Melissa Santillan on Facebook, or Beauty by Melissa Santillan on Instagram. I sell them at Wolf's Den Barbershop, 1393 South Alpine Road, and that is on the lower level. So if you would like to pre-order a shirt or just come into the barbershop and purchase a shirt, you're more than free to. You can message me to see if your size is available. I'm not going to lie, bro. Last week, I sold out of 5 sizes. That's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
That is a good price. And I'm selling a lot of both, because I was like, I wonder which one's going to sell more, the Bonita or the Chingona? Because my idea for the shirts was, are you this type of woman or that type of woman? Or are you both like me? You can be a Bonita, you can be a Chingona, So the girls that I had model for me definitely fit the description of that. Because Melanie Avila was my Bonita model, and she definitely was that. She was like the Latina girls next door. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Just very, very beautiful woman inside and out. Just a gorgeous soul. And then Bianca was my Chingona, and she's the one who was tatted up all over the place. I met her at a car show. Oh. So Bianca is actually a car show model, and she is just she's a sweetheart. She is beautiful. But she definitely fits that Chingona description. So, I feel like I hit the nail on the head by getting one of each model to model for that. And I may be having a pop-up coming up soon, so stay tuned for that. I'll be doing announcement flyer and stuff like that. I don't want to give too much away, but it's in the works right now, so that we can have the opportunity for you to meet the models, have some music, chill, and purchase your Chingona Bonita shirts.
Yeah. What about for guys? Can we wear it, or is it just girls?
I eventually, if you want to wear the Chingona, you're more than welcome to. But I have already considered creating something for the guys because I am a barber. You know what I'm saying? I actually have an idea. If you guys don't know, I have to show them my tattoo that my brother Richard did.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen, I don't know, can you see it good?
Yeah.
My tattoo, it says love. So when you look at it, it says love. I'm thinking about turning these into a shirt from my barbers and stylists. You see how I have a lipstick though? I might switch that out for a barber pole for you guys.
Barber pole.
Yeah, I'll do a barber pole instead of a lipstick for you guys. So I'm working on that now. Richard, answer my calls. I need you to draw this for me. Yeah. Because he made this custom for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he started, and then he's still working on my sleeve. So when my sleeve is done, I keep telling him, bro, you got to finish me so I can get on Ink Magazine, Mm-hmm. Let's do this.
Yeah. And just like that, man. Definitely, guys, stay tuned and stay safe. And thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
Yes.